what were your thoughts on obviously offensive line or wide receiver? It's not going to be anything other than that, right?
I don't think so, but I think offensive line. There's so many interesting stats of offensive linemen that have been good after the first round. You just don't know if you have the faith in Frank Pollock to do that, or Adam Gase to do that, or Joe Douglas to draft that guy. Like you can make
I
a
would
very
say
good
that
case to get that
I would
stud
say there's probably
receiver.
more examples of wide receivers that you can find in the mid to late rounds that are at least able to step in right away. I know somebody mentioned it on Tuesday night. I think it was actually Jay that was saying, wide receivers have the toughest transition. I think they have probably the easiest transition
Yep.
because, if you have the speed or the route running ability, that's going to translate right away. If you're an offensive lineman, you got to deal with the strength of defensive linemen. I think that's a bigger adjustment than it is for receivers.
Especially the offensive line now, man. These speed rushers are coming from every which way. They're fast. They're explosive. I mean,
And
it's tough.
that's why I worry. People say, we have four options at tackle at 11. Becton, I don't think he's going to be an option. It's a guy that's 6'7", 370 pounds. I don't think they want that kind of guy, a big mauler. I think Gase is looking for guys that are more athletic, that can move around. So I think he might only be down to three options. So
Yeah, if you look at his prototype, it's athletic. Athletic. Or internet connection is unstable. Cool.
what?
Is it mine or yours? Is it my? I think it's your internet connection was unstable.
Mine?
It must have been
Mine?
mine.
Oh,
It's probably mine. Who knows?
shit, I
But
don't
yeah, Becton doesn't really meet the mold they have. It's kind of like it's interesting, man. Like this is where you're gonna see the true identity what Joe Douglas wants, and it's so funny how everybody knows what he wants, and we haven't seen it yet. I'm
That's
so
also what
tired
I
of hearing with the
worry
Eagles
about.
and Ravens. I'm
Is this
tired of hearing it.
Is this really going to be Joe Douglas's identity, or is this Adam
Yeah.
Gase's identity, though? Are we drafting players for what Adam Gase wants, or is Joe Douglas drafting the best guy that he sees, long term to build your team? That's another thing.
Yeah, and think about it. If you draft all Adam Gase guys, all these these guys that do all these run zone blocking, all this stuff like that, and then you fire them next year, then you're screwed again. You got a whole
Exactly.
other rebuild, or you got to hire a coach and force these players into his offense.
Exactly.
I don't know. It's interesting though. Like you can make a very good case if you don't get a wide receiver in round one, that's a long wait in round two to get one, dude.
I know. Because they're picking like 16th in the second round.
Yep. It's a
Yeah.
long wait. So then do you trade up? Then if you trade up, then you're losing more draft picks.
Something people aren't talking about, I would totally do it. I don't know what the receiver draft class looks like for next year, but if this is supposed to be the draft class to get your receiver, and I would deal picks for next year if you need to move up in round two, or even if you want to sneak back into the end of round one. If you're talking about drafting a receiver, yes, you have to pay him a year earlier on a contract extension down the road, but you also give him a year early to develop with Darnold. So I think that would be the one position if you could get a receiver, or even if you go receiver at 11, if there's an offensive lineman that sneaks back into round one. I would definitely deal picks for next year if they could do that.
You need building blocks this year, dude. I agree. You need
Yeah,
building blocks this year.
yeah,
You have to. And next year's going to be all about cap space. $100
yep.
million, spend like crazy, get all the
That's
guys you want. But
yeah.
you
They'll
need
have the money.
contributors this year. You got to get guys to work with Sam this year. You can't keep
Yep.
waiting.
Yep. And this is the draft to do it too. Normally, I don't believe in going into a draft saying, all right, we got to get position A, B, and C. But you have a need, and this is a positional strength at wide receiver and the top portion of the offensive line. So I think it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, and the other thing too is there's other holes. Like we keep focusing on receiver and offensive line. We still need running backs. You still need corners. There's still a lot of pieces left here that you only have so many picks. So
Running back,
the Jets could be active after the draft too, man, because
yeah.
there's still holes.
No, running back I can understand from a depth perspective, but beyond that, cornerback, edge, I'm not looking at those guys this year. Take a mid-round flyer, sign a veteran before camp, but any premium picks, I'm not looking at anything at edge or cornerback. This has got to be all about offense. How many times over the past 4 or 5 years have we just passed up on offensive guys for defensive linemen, linebackers, whatever it is? We haven't drafted first round offense since Dustin Keller other than quarterback. At some point, you just got to build around your young quarterback while you have him.
No, I agree. Listen, you can get two receivers, but I want that fast running back. I want that game breaking guy that comes out of backfield and nobody can stop him. Because that's the future of the NFL. If you think about CeeDee Lamb is kind of the guy you want. That's that ridiculous, crazy playmaking ability. You want that out of a running back. Le'Veon Bell's not that guy. He's
got Trenton Cannon.
Come on, man. What are we doing here? Trenton Cannon. We got Josh Adams too, but I mean
4.3 speed.
Yeah, if you can hold on to the ball and can't block on anything else, he's 180 pounds. But I mean, you need these explosive guys now. You got to get these guys that are matchup nightmares for linebackers and safeties. We haven't had that in years. I love Blau Powell. Montgomery's very versatile. They didn't use him right.
Exactly.
So that's the other problem. It still pisses me off.
That's the thing. You have a great piece like Bell, and again, you don't use him right. You don't really know exactly what you have. So even if you do bring in another piece, I mean, if Bell's not getting used right, how many touches do you have to go around for your second back?
Yeah. But see, the thing is, too, it's like you want to add a lot more speed. But I think the thing that nobody really talks about enough is Sam Darnold. Just, okay, we talk about we got to protect him more. We got to give him weapons. We got to do this. We got to play call for him. He's got to play better, dude.
Yeah.
Like, at some point, listen,
With everything that he's between the offensive line, between the play calling, I mean, there's only so much he could do for a
I understand, but there's also times where he had
offense.
a clean pocket and made a shitty pass, or his game management was horrendous, or his game
Trying to do
awareness
too
was
much.
horrendous. But dude, like, I understand, but that all the excuses are fine. But this year, at some point, you got to start eliminating these mistakes, dude. You got to understand, instead of forcing a pass, throw it away. Instead of taking a sack, throw it away.
I think he started to improve on that towards the end of the year.
He's got to keep doing it, though, because now it's
I
like
think it falls more on the coaching staff, though, to put him in a better position not to do those things than it is, on him to know to do that on his own in year 2, year 3 for such a young kid. I mean,
he's still young, but he's still got to. I think he's got to mature as a quarterback. He's got to keep getting better.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
And he's got to make better throws. He's just got to, like, we all love him. We want to see more out of him, but it's like he's got to step up as just, sometimes a good quarterback can overcome bad coaching, and we've seen it. Like,
no, absolutely.
Bill O'Brien is good because Deshaun Watson is just a superstar. Sometimes you can do that, and we need Sam to do that.
No, it'll be a lot easier, though, if you have some playmakers around him. You keep talking about speed. That's why I keep saying Henry Ruggs might be a guy at 11. I know a lot of people think that might be a reach, but with what you can find other guys, I think, that could, like, run routes well, or bigger bodies that can help you out in the red zone, like later on in the second, third rounds. I mean, there's a list 4, 5, 6 guys that are all 6'4", have great verticals, 4.3 speed. Like, you could find that bigger body, or the guys that run better routes later on. But if you could get a burner like Henry Ruggs, that could be the difference in your defense, because now you're talking 2 4-3 guys. I would have preferred they kept Robbie Anderson, but you still got Perriman, a guy that as a defense you have to prepare for. He could take the top off of you, and if you pair that with Ruggs, I mean, at the very least, you're going to open things up for Bell underneath. So I think you have plenty of options if you do that.
And that's the thing. Everybody wants to model after Kansas City, which is great because it's what you want to have your team. First of all, they have a phenomenal play caller, which we don't have. They have a quarterback that's ridiculous, but it's speed, dude. It's matchup nightmares where you spread everybody out. Like, even their worst, like Sammy Watkins, people hate on him, but if everybody else is covered, he's open. Yep. He catches the ball and he runs. Like, they all fly. And that's the goal. Like, and you can't, like, listen, I would have kept Robbie Anderson too. I think
drives me nuts.
I mean, I think Joe Douglas was trying to play hardball with him and bit him in his ass, and now he looks bad. He tries to use everybody to cover up for him. I'm not buying. Listen, Perryman's fast, and I understand that, but you need more of a sampling in 5 games to tout him as a great receiver, because everybody says, "Oh, Robbie's not a number 1 receiver." Neither's Perryman, dude.
Exactly.
He's fast, okay, and
I trust Robbie's resume with Darnold over what Perriman did over 5 games. I mean, as a first-round pick especially, I mean, he's been considered a bust since he came into the league pretty much. And those last 5 games were without Godwin and Evans. They were both out, I think, those 5 games. So he was
the thing is, too, is like,
target in an offense that was just throwing the ball around.
And the whole goal is if you want to build around Sam, then giving somebody a 1-year contract isn't a way to do it. Because then it's like, why not give him a 2-year contract? He pans out. Then you got next year to work on it again. You keep like I hate Band-Aids. And this year's all about Band-Aids. If Perryman has a huge year, say 80 catches for 1,000 yards, he's going to say, you know what? I'm going to go to free agency, dude. I'm going to test it out first. And then you're fucked again. Like, people know, like, everybody wants to praise Joe Douglas for how great he is, his genius it. And you could see it slowly but surely. He took a calculated risk with 1-year contracts. Every one of these players are betting on themselves. If they play well, guess what? They're going to say, we're not staying here. We're going to test the market like they did this year. And next year, they're going to have the TV money, too. So they're going to be a lot more money available, and teams are going to spend it.
You know what's funny about Joe Douglas's approach? You're probably going to laugh. The way Mike McCagnon came in his first year, that's what I wish Joe Douglas would have did. Getting a guy like Brandon Marshall for a 5th-round pick, just finding those veterans on cheap deals, going after a Darrelle Revis, taking a risk on a guy like that. Like, while you have your young quarterback on his rookie contract, that's when you can afford to take some of those chances. And for whatever reason, he's just, I think, dead set on doing it his way, slow and steady through the draft, and that's what we're going to see.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you got to hope, like, to bet on guys like Vincent Smith and Braxton Berrios, to me, is comical. Like, I'm hoping that after the draft, they get a guy in the draft. I'm hoping after the draft, they get a little more aggressive. They make some other moves we're not expecting. Like, they got to understand that this offense right now is not an NFL offense. Like, Crowder is a good player, but You can't go Crowder, Perryman, and draft pick and say, okay, now we're set. Like Ryan Griffin's an okay tight end. Chris Herndon, we have no idea. We saw a glimpse. Can he stay out of trouble? Can he stay healthy? Like there's a lot of like
Herndon a little bit.
Yeah, but dude, we still got to see it though. Like
No.
I want to give as many weapons as possible, dude. Like you got to stack talent, but talent that's going to be here for 5 years. Like not okay. Perriman's here this year. Now we're swap him out for whoever next year. And like you look at like Drew Brees, all the guys around Drew Brees. They're with him year in and year out. Like you get the same core. Michael Thomas is there. Like it's just.
That's why I think it would have made sense to pay Robbie.
I agree. For the $2 million, like people discount Robbie. Also, now Robbie sucks. And Perriman's a god.
I know. It would have been one thing if you got, 4 years, $50 million, like we were talking about, back in January and February. 2 years, $20 million for a guy that's a proven number 2 that works well with your quarterback.
Yeah, if the offers were the same, and then all Carolina did was just guarantee 2 more, or put up $2 more million up front to get the deal done. Yeah. Like we'll never get that.
And if that was the price that Douglas knew he wasn't going to match, you had to know Robbie would get that somewhere in free agency. So trade him, get something back. I mean, even if you're talking about an extra 4th round pick, that would be valuable in this draft.
And that's why I said, like, people give him a pass for so many things. And it's like, we talked about it, dude. Last year when you didn't trade him, you made a commitment to the team. We're keeping him. That's my opinion. Listen, we're not going to trade you. We're going to keep you. We're going to do our best effort to keep him. Okay. Then if it comes down to $2 million, like you're pinching pennies to be bold and make a statement like, we're not going to get played by nobody. Okay, you didn't get played by nobody. Then you sign Perryman like, oh, now we got the guy we wanted. You're full of shit. Yeah. Like, if you got the guy you wanted, you would have signed him right off the bat, not let him linger out for friggin' 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things you could see here, but nobody wants to talk about it because everybody loves Joe Douglas.
No, I know. So
you take your calculated risk. Now you got to get your wide receiver. And if your wide receiver is going to be a guy you pick, just for shits and giggles, they go offensive lineman in the 1st round. 2nd round, they go corner. If they go to the 3rd round to find their wide receiver, just say, dude, we all assume this. We don't know what the hell he's going to do. What if they go to the 3rd round looking for the wide receiver?
Dude, there's not enough beer in my fridge. If the Jets wait until the 3rd round in this draft to go receive,
how do we know they
I understand it's a deep draft class. You can't wait until round 3, though. If you don't go round 1, it has to be round 2.
How do we know?
You're gonna be talking about at least probably the top 15 to 18 receivers off the board by the time you pick in round 3.
Yeah, but if you look at his chart, the way he talks about things, if he's very similar to other general managers where it's about value and quality of players, stuff like that. If there's a crazy run on wide receivers, which there very well could be, that best player available could be a corner. Then what? In 2nd round?
You don't do it.
He may go by his value chart, dude. There's going to be a run on wide receivers. There's no doubt because the free agent market,
that's why you got to make sure you get one.
If you don't get one in the 1st round, the 2nd round is going to be, you're going to watch, dude. They're going to panic or they're going to have to trade up.
Yeah, and that would be fine with me. There are a number of guys that are going to be right in that middle, like end of round 1, leading right up until the Jets pick in round 2. That, if you got to move up, trade a pick next year, do it. You're talking about a lot of guys that are, I think, immediate starters, if not, future borderline number 1s. This draft class is loaded. So I know you and Joe are both, skeptical about being able to – actually, I think it was just you kind of being skeptical about being able to draft receivers. But I think this is the class to do it. That's why I say, like, if you could trade picks next year, get an extra receiver this year.
Well, my point is this. Everybody keeps telling me we can just go get 2 wide receivers. If you don't draft the wide receiver in the 1st round, to assume your 2 third-round wide receivers or 2nd and 3rd are just going to be definite hits, to me is like you hope. Like in theory, it'd be great, but I can't guarantee that, dude. Like I don't.
With the damn, I mean, you're talking about one of the best receiving draft classes in like a decade. If you can't find 2 receivers here, then what are we talking about? We're back at square one. This is what we killed McCagnon for, right? He couldn't draft in the mid to late rounds. Douglas is supposed to be able to do that. The biggest position of strength in this draft. Find 2 guys.
That's it. And then after that, you got to start figuring out other holes and figure out other moves and stuff like that. But it's like,
dude, also like that's why it makes so much sense to just go trade for Trent Williams. You do that, and you guarantee yourself you're going to solve one of those needs at receiver at pick 11.
Yep.
With the number 1 potentially number 1 guy, the top guy possibly if you get Judy or whoever. So you do that, and then you're just talking about needing 1 receiver between rounds 2 and 3, and I think that's more manageable than saying, all right, I need to get 2 guys in the mid to late rounds.
Yeah, like I hated the idea initially. I was so against it because I hate the contract. That the thing that worries me the most is that
now's the time to do it, though.
Yeah, I mean now it is because now is the Redskins are losing leverage because everybody's backing off and now they're going to be stuck. and now they got to figure out what they want to do. So there could
That's
be a
why.
draft.
That's why I wonder if they wait until after the draft also.
Yeah,
See
they're
how
stuck,
the
so they got to
board
figure it
plays
out.
out. Yep.
But the thing you worry about is, all right, if you do that move, can the guy stay healthy? Because you can't give him a physical right now because of all the pandemic. You got to give him a physical, and then the contract. The last thing you want to do is give him $18 million a year, and then 2 years from now, you'd be like, Jesus Christ, we got a guy that can't stay healthy, and we have another whole left tackle, and we have $18 million cap hit.
Yeah.
So, but the more I think about it, the more I'm getting nervous that there could be a run on offensive lineman, that we don't get the guy we want at 11, or they go receiver at 11, and then a second round, we're taking a project at offensive line.
Yeah.
So then you got to go sign a Jason Peters or a Kelvin Beachum as insurance, because you can't put a project at left tackle. We already got one in Fant. So you got to,
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like you got to.
And that's what bothers me though, because we're already talking about having $100 million for next year. We already spent about $60 million on the offensive line this year. And other than McGovern, what legitimate pieces do we have?
None.
Exactly. So you got to spend that money somewhere. If you're not giving Jamal Adams an extension, go trade for Trent Williams.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not opposed to it. At this point, you know, like it's either that draft one or take a Band-Aid guy, and we got to stop at the Band-Aids, man. The last thing you do is have Sandar running for his life again or making excuses why the offense sucks.
Yeah. Right now, as the roster stands, as much as I want receiver, and I know a lot of people do, I don't see how you could pass on one of those top 3 or 4 offensive linemen if they're there at 11.
No.
I think that's the most important need. You can win with number 2 and number 3 receivers scattered all around. Patriots do it all the time, but if you don't have an offensive line, you're screwed.
No, it's a premium, dude. Like I was worried about center. Now center's addressed. These guys are, versatile, but you need, linemen, you need depth, and then go from there. You like you said, you can find ways to score points other ways, but I mean, Sanchez, look at Sanchez. Like, you gave him a line, you could run the ball, you could do all kinds of stuff because he could sit there and just figure things out. The game slows down for everybody.
Yep.
And then it goes to the defensive side of the ball, which none of us really talk about because we're like, Greg Williams. But he also had a lot of help with the schedule, the quarterbacks he played, and a lot of smoke and mirrors, which, being on the field 40 minutes a game didn't help anybody. But if you look at how they're lining up a corner, I mean, dude, this offense has to produce and get time of possession in their favor, 35, 38 minutes a game to take the pressure off this defense if we can't get a pass rusher because the secondary is not going to be strong enough at corner to hold on for, you know what I mean? I think we're not looking at defense enough. Not saying that we can help it, but Greg Williams is going to need more help than smoke and mirrors. He's going to need the offense to help him this year.
No, I agree, but I think that's also where C.J. Mosley hopefully comes in. You got Desir, who I think should be an upgrade over Roberts, but most importantly, like, this is supposed to be where we're transitioning from being a defensive-minded team, I think, towards an offensive team. That's why we hired Adam Gase. We're supposed to be built around offense now that we have a quarterback, something that we haven't been in, 2 decades. So, I mean, you're not going to have a number 1 defense and a number 1 offense. I prefer that we have, a top-flight offense and a defense that can at least, manage the game and, bend, don't break type of defense like that.
Yeah, we just need game breakers, man. It's like it's so hard when you look at what the Jets are trying to do and you look at the Buffalo Bills or even the Dolphins. Like Dolphins with this draft, they have so many picks.
The Bills are at.
The Bills are what we want to be.
It should be us. Yeah.
Exactly.
Should be where we're at.
And to discount them and like, Josh Allen
all
sucks.
over our YouTube page too. I hate that shit.
Yeah, but that's fine. I mean, hey, at least they're watching. Get the clicks.
Yeah,
but dude, it's like everybody can shit on Josh Allen all they want. The kid's making plays. He runs around. He's doing enough, and they're making the playoffs. And they're winning. They're winning. They like the culture you want and all the momentum you want. Everything, young building blocks, all these pieces. They're doing what we want to do.
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
I can't hate on Josh Allen at all. They
Me
set
neither.
him up exactly like we did for Sanchez those first 2 years.
Yep.
They're
Dude,
building
he's fine.
pieces around him. They're putting him in position to succeed. And the same thing with Lamar Jackson too.
Dude, they're building an offense. They're doing the things the right way. They're building an offense around him. They're putting playmakers around him. Like all this shit. You're like, hey, you know what? If you want to have a young quarterback, this is what you do. Give him a line, give him playmakers, build the offense around him. What a novel idea.
Yeah.
And have a great defense. Okay. Done.
Sounds
I
easy.
can't- They went to the playoffs. And the kid's scrappy. Like I don't shit on him at all, dude. He's scrappy. He keeps fighting. He makes dude, it's just the Dolphins are loaded.
That's also a product of what happens when you give your young quarterback confidence early on. Because we saw Sanchez kind of inching towards that, and then you took his offensive line away, you took his playmakers away, you gave him Derek Mason instead of Kotchery, and then
Burrs.
God, even worse.
But yeah, no, it's just they need a blueprint. Hopefully, we see that in this draft where you see what the blueprint is going forward. They're gonna make moves after the draft because they have to, with salary cap and just because they have holes. And then you see what you have. And then you got to worry about like people think I'm exaggerating, but we're in what, April, and the pandemic is still going on. So you figure they're not going to be able to practice till June, if that, or you're going to be, these timelines are all getting pushed back. And I understand people that watch this, oh, that happens to every team. I understand that, but we're doing our whole offensive line over. We're trying to incorporate at least 3 new playmakers, plus getting Herndon back who wasn't played. You got a lot of learning to do and a lot of things to do in a short period of time, and then say, okay, let's go roll out our offense. And you got to hope nobody gets hurt and everything else. And that's a lot of change, man, for a new quarterback. Well, not a new quarterback, but a quarterback with a new line, a new center. I'm like, dude, it's a lot of change, man.
You're already making the excuses for him. I hate it.
Dude, he's coming back next year. I'm already convinced no matter what happens this year, Adam Gase is coming back next year.
Next year, no matter
come
what?
Back next year. I guarantee you. I will lock it down. He'll come back next year based on the change of the roster overhaul, based on all these things. He's getting in his players. First year of having his players because he didn't have them last year.
Win 6 games, he's back?
Yeah, absolutely. Adam Gase's come back next year. I'm convinced of it.
Wow.
Guaranteed it.
No way.
Guaranteed it.
Woody's coming
His
back.
pressure point will be next year when they have $100 million in cap space. And
Woody's
they bring in
coming
all.
back. There's no way he would hand that $100 million to Adam Gase.
Hand it to him, dude. This is a wash year. I'm telling you, this is a wash year. This is the year that he couldn't get his players
This is an
last year.
evaluation year. That's part of why I think all these one-year contracts
This is all full of band-aids this year because he didn't get what he wanted last year. Now he's starting to get what he wants this year, and next year is a big splash. Next year's his win year. Next year's a pressure year. He's coming back next year. I'm already convinced of it.
I don't think so.
Guaranteed it. 6 wins doesn't make a difference. He come back.
I would say all the one-year contracts are more for him to show that he could actually build around Arnold and actually make some progress this year. And if he doesn't, then all this money is going to go towards the new coach, getting him assets that he wants coming in next year.
Nah, I think it's just they're just trying to just weed out stuff and figure out a plan for next year when they have all this monumental money to spend.
You're probably right because by all indications, I mean, Gase and Douglas are on the same page. They love each other, so.
And they have all these built-in excuses. They change. They have a vision, a plan. They couldn't do the plan last year. Ideally, this is the first year of their plan. Yeah. But the one thing with Joe Douglas, what people don't talk about enough is he's had a full year to get ready for this draft. Like usually you get hired in January, you draft in April, but it's like, oh, those aren't my scouts. This isn't my – dude, all those excuses are way gone because you've had a whole year to bring in your scouts, get everybody caught up to speed, same grading, same evaluations. This is it, dude. Now you're – like, he's got no fucking excuse at all. Like, I don't want to hear shit about this wasn't my guy and I don't know who I want. No, you know all you wanted. And if you don't get what you want, it's Adam Gase getting in the way. And the thing is, like, it's so funny because people hate Manish Mehta. And a lot of the shit he says is actually true, but nobody wants to believe it. Or he has a lot of insight. And what happens is he'll say it now. Everybody tells him to fuck off. And then 6 months from now, when it comes to fruition, he'll get no credit for it. So he kept talking about the Jets have been tight with money. Well, they're tight with money because of cap space. They don't want to cut guys like Winters and those guys because they can't pass physicals yet. They can't do the physicals. So I understand that. So money's been tight. But he's also been hinting that Joe Douglas is having problems with getting, like, there's been some kind of power issues here with can he do what he really wants? Are things holding him back? That shit's already coming out. Whether it's Manish stirring a pot or not, but we'll see this come draft day, dude. Because you know what's going to happen is if Adam Gase doesn't get his guy, he'll be the first one to bitch and moan and leak shit to the media. That's going to be the test.
Normally, I would tend to agree with you, but you think he really would try to play that card again? He can't. He just got the last GM fired. He just got run out of Miami. He's going to try and get Douglas. He wouldn't win that power struggle. There's no way.
He would not power. He could just start dropping hints like, you know what? We were really kind of hoping to get this guy. But
Douglas would know where it's coming from, though.
Yeah, we'll see, dude.
That would be a dangerous game for Gase to play. I hope he does because I think that would get him out the door quicker.
Yep.
That'd be a dangerous game for him to play, though.
That's something to watch. I'm most curious to see how, like, when the draft comes and goes and they start doing all the evaluations and when the stories really start. Because right now, all the media do are just kissing Joe Douglas's ass so they can keep their credentials. Everything is great. Every move is smart. Everything is wonderful. It's all fine and dandy now until the draft comes. And if something goes wrong in the draft where the fans aren't happy or they're pissed or they're starting to question things, when that finger pointing starts is when Gase starts doing shit. Think about it. When people started criticizing the whole Le'Veon Bell thing, something happened. Like, stories start getting released. Whenever there's drama and controversy, Gase reacts to it. He follows all our shit on social media. He's acting on all this stuff. The Jets, you know how the Jets are, dude. They follow all our shit too. And they have a pulse with what everybody's doing. If something goes wrong, there's some kind of controversial thing where the fans don't agree, that's when the shit will start. I guarantee it. They're a bunch of insecure idiots.
Can't wait for it.
What do you think, though? You could see it.
I hope not. You can see it, though. You're right.
But so just say they get offensive lineman in round 1, they get a receiver in round 2. What are your expectations this year? Just based on that. They say they have a decent draft, they address holes. You're thinking playoffs?
My expectation, and again, this is part of the fights that we've been having every Tuesday night. My expectation for the roster would be, playoffs. But the unknown of Adam Gase, I mean, that clouds everything. We don't know what he is as a head coach or what he could be. I mean, I think we all know what he probably is, but with a healthy roster, you kind of hope and pray and cross your fingers that maybe he'll get more out of it. I don't think he has any ability to do that. But I think if Joe Douglas comes away from this draft with 2 receivers and he either, drafts an offensive lineman at 11 or trades for Trent Williams, one of those things, you have an offense that has more than enough talent to put up points on a regular basis and a defense that, building off of last year, is getting C.J. Mosley back. So why wouldn't they be able to win 9-10 games if they have a decent coach? And that's the problem, though. I don't think we do have a good coach, and that's probably why we're going to be 6, 7, 8 wins.
Yeah, that's the challenge too. It's like you have a lot of change. You have the coach, and then you have the schedule, which I think is going to be that's my other problem I have. And people call me negative. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm tired of people. It's sometimes just called reality. They have a tough schedule and a lot of road trips on the West Coast. And that's when teams, especially the Jets, no matter who the fucking coach is, they don't play well. So it's like you have all these things where it's like I could already, if I was Adam Gase's agent, I can give Chris Johnson the speech right now to keep my job next year before the season's even fucking played.
Oh, yeah.
You can see it, dude.
Yeah, no,
schedule, off season was all fucked up. Yeah.
Yep.
Overhauling roster. Like, dude, you can see it. They're going to win 6 or 7 games, be proud of themselves.
Guarantee he still doesn't play the offensive line in the preseason either. Tries to blame that on somebody else.
Oh, I mean, that's just, I don't know. We'll see, man. It's so you want to be positive. Like, I'm going into the draft open-minded. You want to see a lot of cool things. You want to see playmakers. You want to see rhyme and reason. And my thing I want to see is that after the second round, the one thing about McCagnon that always pissed me off, not to bother you or anything like that, but it was him trading back a lot of times, just in the 5th round, 6th round, 4th round, he kept trading back when guys could help us out right there. I don't need another 7th round fucking pick. Pick the guy here we needed. And it happened. So, dude, I was throwing shit up and down the fucking room. It's dude, there's you know what I mean?
No, that was one of the things I wouldn't even defend either. It just seemed like there were more times than not where he just made moves for the sake of making them, where he would move down 11 spots, for an extra 7th or whatever it was. I mean, nothing significant. So, and a lot of times there were guys on the board that can help us at a position of need that we passed up. So
that drove me insane. And that's where you want to see Joe Douglas get the most bang for his buck, where it's navigate those later rounds when they pick players that we never heard of before and everybody says they're great. I want to say, oh, they got, they traded, see the 3rd round, 4th round, get your bang for your buck there and impress us there. You know what I mean? Do something that makes sense there instead of all this gathering 6th round picks or 7th round pick for next year and all this shit. You know?
I mean, if you want to continue being positive, I mean, I think if he is the kind of guy that could do that, I mean, why wouldn't we have a team that's capable of winning? Especially, with how top heavy this offensive draft class is. I have faith that he's going to hit at least a couple guys there. So if you find a couple mid-round picks also, whether it's an edge rusher or a corner, something like that, you just expedite the process. And I still think there are some pieces here that if you add more talent around them, they'll give you a little bit more. Yeah,
I think to me, it's if the Jets are going to be a 9-win team this year, 10-win team, it's all Sam Darnold. I'm just not an Adam Gase guy. I'll never be an Adam Gase guy. I don't like the way the Jets handle business. I don't like the way he play calls. I don't like any of it. So it's all right, I'll be positive and say, okay, we have talent. The Bills have more. The Dolphins will scare me because they have a lot of talent and they're going to be well coached. But okay, if they're going to win 10 games, it's all Sam Darnold's got to have a Pro Bowl caliber year or something he has a breakout year from somebody, whoever it is, Perryman or I don't know, somebody's got to just be blow our doors away.
Stay healthy, maybe.
Yeah. But
Chuma Edoga, right tackle.
What a disaster. I don't understand it.
I'm actually optimistic about Chuma. You know why?
Come on, man.
No, you know why?
Jesus Christ. Why?
This regime has already shown you they won't hesitate to get rid of a 3rd round pick. They released Polite after his first training camp. So if they didn't like Edoga, they wouldn't hide that. The fact that you have beat reporters coming out saying that they're pretty high on him, they see him as a future starter, I think that's a reason to be somewhat optimistic about him. Maybe not this year. Going forward, though.
I mean, in theory, I'm hoping that Fant's playing over there or something, or I don't know what they're going
to
do.
That's what I hope, that you either draft your left tackle or you trade for Trent Williams, and then it becomes a battle between Fant and Edoga at right tackle. And if Edoga takes over that spot sooner than later, then you're not tied financially to Fant beyond this year.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I hate being negative and just skeptical and critical of everything, but we've seen so many things before, and A lot of things I just can't buy into. Like I can't drink the Kool-Aid in every fucking move. I just can't do it. Like I'm tired of like the best thing to do, dude, is read things from other analysts that aren't on the East Coast, like West Coast guys or Gil Brandt or whoever else, and see their evaluations. Not the ones that the Jets are feeding the beat writers. Like, the Jets take news, give it to the beat writers, be positive, spin this shit out. Okay. And we all buy into it. We all read the same fucking reports and regurgitate it. But then you go and look at the West Coast guys or an honest observer, innocent observer, and you're like, wait a minute, this is a journeyman. It's not really a starter. Wait a minute. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to like, it's hard to not be skeptical, dude.
I was going to say, a lot of the evaluations I've been reading, PFF and a few other sites that aren't Jets related, when it comes to the offensive line, it's pretty much C, D, F. I mean,
dude, Marcus Coleman.
Other than the McGovern move, I don't know.
Dude, even like Marcus Coleman, the former Jet who does a lot of analysis, guys like that, they're like, I'm not really sure what they're doing there. Like, that's kind of, you want to upgrade your offensive line. If you honestly say right now they significantly upgraded it, you're lying to yourself. Yeah. You're hoping. So, and fans will come after me again and, you're fucking negative, same old Jet fan, all this other shit. Sorry, dude. Like, I just got to go by what we see. Like, we want to win games. We want to see good shit. But, dude, this is the same fan base that said Ryan Khalil was a great move. We all thought the same thing. And what happened there? It fucking blew up in our face.
Yep. Khalil, Spencer Long, Ryan Clady, Semele.
It's tough, dude.
All those guys had better resumes coming in than friggin' George Fant, too. So.
Yeah, so now it's like, to me, it's got to be like, you got to like wait and see mode. Like, you can be skeptical. You're allowed to. Like, fans are allowed to be skeptical because we haven't won shit in 10 years.
Yeah.
And Joe Douglas has to prove it to us. Like, see, if he had a try, like, everybody wants to reference Ozzie Newsome, which is completely fine. But if Ozzie Newsome did this shit, like, you know what? He's got a track record of knowing what the fuck he's doing. You know what I mean? Like, he's been there, done that. Joe Douglas hasn't been there, done that. All of a sudden now, Joe Douglas has been the guy that's been in the war room making all the picks for the last 5 years for all these fucking teams. That's not what happened. He was like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I was gonna say, we had a caller like 3 weeks ago that was talking about the last 3 or 4 Eagles drafts that
weren't very good.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, if that's what we're going off of, I mean,
but you were acting like he was the guy making decisions in the room under pressure, and now in an environment where he's not only under pressure, he's doing it, in a war room by himself, most likely through Zoom or whatever other shit, which is a completely new element of this. It's a lot to prove, man. Like, he needs a track record of having 3 drafts. We see what he does, 3 free agent classes. Okay, now we know what kind of guys he has, or what his mindset is, what his blueprint is. We can figure it out. But now it's like, to not be skeptical, dude, I could never do it. I just can't drink Kool-Aid. I can't do it.
That's why, I mean, I'm trying not to go crazy over, free agency, because ultimately he is the kind of guy that wants to build through the draft. So that's where we're going to judge him. But I still think he just completely missed the boat. When you have a franchise quarterback on his rookie contract, you've seen it with Mahomes, with Wentz. Those are the years to take advantage and to not go after a premium tackle like they could have with Conklin or, with Williams still out there. Those were the moves to be made, or keeping a Robbie Anderson. I think they're just taking a lot of unnecessary risks with a lot of these guys, and I don't know how it's going to pan out.
Yeah, and listen, and I'll give him credit where credit's due. I love having Jordan Jenkins back. I love having Poole back. But I would have loved having him back on a 2-year deal instead of a 1-year deal. We said the same shit last year. Like, he's taking risk, and you give him credit where it's due. Listen, you made some good moves. Getting this year is all fine. Like, these are all – like, I'm not like the whole I hate everything, but we keep talking about offense, and I don't feel good at it. I don't feel confident about it. Like, the one Bills fan keeps attacking me on Twitter. I forget his name, but he's a real prick. He keeps blasting me. And I'm like, dude, I don't understand what you want me to tell you. Like, I'm not going to blindly have faith in stuff if I don't believe it myself. I mean, we have a lot to prove on the offensive line. Adam Gase, as a head coach and play caller, has a shitload to prove. And Frank Pollock got a pass last year, which I have no idea how, is going to have the same challenge this year where he has all new veteran linemen or all new linemen, and you got to make them gel within a preseason and get them to go play.
And dude, that was a big part of the problem last year. It wasn't guys, just getting physically beaten. It was, 3-man rushes.
Communication.
Guys didn't know who to pick up. Like, that was the big problem. And you had veterans. You had Beachum on the line. You had winners there most of the year. Like, dude.
No, it's just like, listen, we all want to be fans and we want to be positive and break shit down. But it's like, break it down and be honest about it. Listen, we're all Sam Darnold fans. He's got a lot to prove. I like Robbie Anderson. I would have kept him, especially for $2 million more. I would have kept him. Le'Veon Bell, listen, man, get another year out of him. He's going to be gone next year. Henry Anderson will be gone next year. So you got to find guys to replace him. Like, it'd be nice to find a running back to replace him this year. You know what I mean? Get one in the 5th round or some shit. Like, I know Josh Adams is Joe Douglas's guy, and he's a Notre Dame guy, which is great. But you know what I mean? Like, you want, like, pieces, dude. Like, guys that are going to be around for a few years.
Well, and that's why, I guess, last topic, Jamal Adams. why it makes no sense to even consider trading him unless you're getting a ridiculous haul that addresses, offensive line, multiple, a first or second round pick, multiple draft picks, something like that. Otherwise, like you're saying, if you're talking about having, Bell gone next year, possibly even Mosley, Henry Anderson, if you're really thinking about breaking it down, like that might be on the horizon, then yeah, maybe you do trade him. As much as we need building blocks, if you're really thinking about completely tearing it down and starting from scratch, other than Sam Darnold, maybe you do try. I don't know.
You know what's funny about this though?
Yeah.
This is the funny thing about Jamal Adams and Jet fans. Jet fans love his bravado. They love all the shit he talks throughout the season, everything else. They build up everything like how great he is. And then when he starts talking about money, like, oh, what an asshole. Dude, we
this
built
persona that we see on Twitter. We built that.
We built this monster.
Yeah,
like we built this monster.
Totally.
We call him the best safety in football, all pro. He's our president. He's this. He's our franchise. We do all this shit.
Yeah.
And then, now we don't want to pay him.
Non-stop it, yeah.
How could he want all that money? We fucking created this.
Yep.
It's just and then
Phoenix Island 2.0. You called, dude. You said this weeks ago.
It's like he's saying it openly, saying I'm not leaving no money on the table. That's exactly what he's saying. And Kevin, do you blame him?
No, I don't.
What would you do if this was if you were Jamal Adams yourself? Like if I was Jamal Adams and I'm on top of the world, all pro at this young of an age, where everybody loves me. I'm obviously one of the best players on the team, if not in the NFL, rising star, all this shit. I want every fucking dollar you can give me. I don't care about hometown discounts. I don't
give
a
the
shit.
Jets. Yeah. That would be what I'm saying. What do I owe you guys? Yeah. What have you done for me over the last 3 years? I've done everything for you guys. I've answered all the questions when you've surrounded me with no talent, made me look like shit. I come from a winning background at LSU. Yep. Wherever I've been, I've always won.
I've gotten better every year. I'm an all-pro player.
Yeah.
I'm getting better. Like, and it's like, listen, I've done everything right. Now pay me. And if you don't want to, somebody else will.
Yep.
That's called the NFL. It's called business.
Yep.
Dude,
I think he's worth every penny. I'm curious though, because Douglas has already shown he's not going to go off, at least far off of whatever value he assigns to a player. So if he says, all right, you're only worth, $13, $14 million, and Adams is set on 18, 19, 20, that's a gap that I think is too far, and they're not gonna meet anywhere in the middle on that.
Yeah, so two things are gonna happen. It's either Chris Johnson's gonna get involved and say, listen, man, we got to sell tickets and we got to keep this guy. He's the face of our franchise. Or he says, you know what? If he stays out of it and leaves it up to Gase, Gase. I'm not sure if Jamal Adams is an Adam Gase guy or not. I can't really tell. I don't think he is. No. He's not. I just don't think he is. So then you're like, all right, he's gonna be traded. And then it's like, all right, if you're gonna do that, which it could happen. I'm not gonna say it can't. It could happen. But now it's like, what are you getting? And it's got to be a ransom, dude. Like, you can't just,
That's why I agree. I mean, you look at what Douglas was asking for with back at the trade deadline from Dallas.
Yep.
There was talks of, I think, a first-round pick, 2 seconds, and you also wanted an offensive lineman. To me, that's got to be the haul. If you're trading a piece like him in the prime of his career, yeah, the team would have to pay for him, but he's worth more to the Jets than he is anywhere else because of what we need.
Yeah, and I hate the idea of trading him. Like, the contract is one thing, but we got to keep in mind is that the salary cap is going to skyrocket the next 2 years. The next 2 years with the new TV deal, this money is going to be fucking. And we don't have anybody to pay other than Sam.
Yeah.
Like everybody.
3 years
this,
away. Too.
This is my biggest problem. People fucking arguing with me about this, especially Joe, is that, oh, our money. Dude, we have nobody to fucking pay the next 2 years other than Sam, if he can prove himself. The money's going to be there. It's not going to be a big deal. And whatever you give him this year, 2 years from now, it's going to be a discount. Because some guy's going to pass him right by and get more money than he is. And he's the playmaker that we've wanted for how many years? And it's like, and the other argument, and I don't understand why Ed Reed and Paul Malo keep getting discounted like they're not important players. Or you mentioned to me, Tyrann Mathieu, a very important part for the Kansas City Chiefs. Dude, the safety position now in this NFL is a very versatile player, especially in Greg Williams' offense. And he can be even more dynamic if he had guys around him that can cover and do shit. When you're playing with Manny Moe and Jack at cornerback and you have no pass rush at all, I mean, he could do so much more with better players around him that he's not even doing now. So you want to take that away because you don't listen, man, I think he should get paid. He's earned it. He deserves it. And that's just the way I feel. Like, I think he's a very dynamic, you could build a defense around him. Like up the middle, good middle linebacker.
TJ Mosley, yeah. Him, Mosley, and hopefully Quinnen Williams, ends up being what we.
Why not?
Yeah.
That's the future of the NFL, dude.
What you were saying, like the argument of him being just a safety, I mean, forget about adding talent around him. He's a guy that does everything. I mean, I know people laugh at his 6.5 sacks, saying, oh, well, if you get a real pass rusher, he'll get 12, 13, 14. But yeah, he had 6.5 sacks while he was also, locking down the tight end, covering running backs. He does it all. There's not
You could
many
actually
guys
have more.
that
If you had a pass rusher, you could actually have more. If you
Yeah.
have a legitimate threat on the outside, if Adams comes up the middle, nobody's blocking him.
Exactly.
I don't understand. I don't understand why now over the last 2 weeks, especially on our Twitter account, people are starting to discount him. Joe oh, he's a great player, but what the fuck is the but?
There's no but. Yeah.
What is the he gets what? Line of scrimmage that tackles me for a loss, hits the quarterback, and now not enough interceptions. He's working a line of scrimmage because we can't make fucking stops. We have no pass rush.
And teams aren't even throwing the ball in the fourth quarter because they got a 2-touchdown lead. I mean,
what happened? I don't understand now. We're oh, we got to trade him. He's only a safety. He's not worth it. And these will be the same fans that once he's gone, we need him. We miss him. We need safety. Yeah. I'll never. This is. But you're right though. You made a really good point though, where Joe Douglas sticks to his mark, his budget. He allocates a certain amount of money for a position, and that's all right, this is it, and we are not going to bend. And it worked out. He got Jordan Jenkins, he got Poole. Didn't work out with Robbie Anderson, which I think was stupid. If somebody's lying that
that's why I don't think it's going to work out with Jamal, because
I don't think so either.
He's not leaving any money on the table.
Nope, I don't blame him.
He knows what he can get on the open market, or a team like the Cowboys, they would pay him a ridiculous amount.
But the other thing too is which I think he sees that people don't want to talk about is that the commitment to winning, man.
Yep.
And he comes from LSU. He loves to win. He loves to be a part of that spotlight, the hoopla. The last thing he wants is these fucking blowout losses on Monday Night Football, being out of it by week 9. And that's always known as losing here. And the organization's commitment to winning, I mean, keeping Gase is whatever, but all the shit you see, deep down inside, dude, he wants to win, man. If he says, listen, I want all the money I can get, if I get that in Dallas or wherever else, that team has a little bit more of a history of just, not that Dallas is a winning team. They haven't done shit either, but you know what I'm saying? At least they have that ownership in that direction where listen, this is their mantra.
Dude, you're talking about winning culture, and just think about every show that we've done over the last 2 years, or even just the last year, between the Assembly situation, Quincy Enunwa taking the picture, the injuries on the board outside. You think of all these little things. That's not part of what winning teams and winning cultures do.
Nope.
He sees that. He recognizes all that. All the more reason that he's not giving the Jets a discount.
Oh. Dude, he's a prideful player, man. He wants to perform well, but he also wants to win. And I say he comes from LSU. He goes to the Pro Bowl. He sees all the shit. He wants to be part of it. He wants to be part of the playoffs when he's watching it. You can tell, dude, that's what he's that competitive. That's his mindset. Winning, achieving, accomplishing, all that shit. And listen, I don't blame him. I'm not usually on the player side of a lot of this shit, but with him, I am. Because first of all, we created this monster, and he's that good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the thing is, and this is, people say I exaggerate about shit, but Joe Douglas even said it. We want to keep him a Jet for life. The same shit they did with fucking Revis. The same goddamn thing. It was Rex Ryan saying it, right? This is all, we've seen this before, dude.
Yep.
So
we created the monster, and they add on to it. They feed right into it.
So it'll be interesting. I'm pretty sure that we're a week and a half away from the draft. I'm sure the trade articles are going to start coming out more. What the Jets are going to do, because they're not stupid, they start leaking articles. Oh, can they? Brian Costello already started it. He started it a day ago with where the Jets have safety issues, and it's not about the draft. The guy Montez Miles is the free agent. The guy they tried to sign backed out, and now what do you do with Jamal Adams? So slowly but surely, the article's already coming out, and I guarantee you, mark my words, dude, we're going to talk a week from now. There'll be more. Should the Jets trade Jamal Adams or not? What should happen? They already start feeding the pulse of the fans. Guarantee it.
No, I fully expect it.
I curse a lot. Holy shit, dude. I think I broke all our rules.
At least I don't have to worry about editing at all.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah, right.
But, listen, you look at the team, nobody really resigned. I mean, other than, Marcus May, you look at Sam Darnold. I mean, other than that, dude, it's you have a ton of cap space. You want to pay Jamal, you could pay him. And it doesn't have to be $20 million. You could pay him 15, 16, 17. It doesn't make a difference. You could pay him. The money will be there. It's not that big of a deal. You said, the just a safety. It's not just a safety. You got to think outside the box and be a big picture. And the best thing I love what I get on YouTube is you don't watch football, dude. You don't know football, dude. Instead of being keeping your head in the fucking box, look at the grand scheme of the defense, his impact on the defense, the roles he can play, all the things he can do.
Impact off the field, too.
Yeah, I mean, he's your number one recruiting tool right now. He is just he's an asset.
He hasn't done any of that this year. right?
Which is saying something, right?
Yeah.
Interesting, isn't
He's
it?
not. He's not trying to get anyone else paid until he gets paid. I don't blame him.
You're damn right. He's playing the game, dude.
Yeah.
And like people
He hasn't
hate him
said
for
one
it.
word on Twitter about
Nope.
to any free agent, not one.
Nothing.
And we saw it last year, biggest cheerleader out there.
For Le'Veon Bell, for all these guys, he isn't saying shit now.
Yep.
Yeah. See, man, this next week and a half is gonna be interesting, man. And you just got to watch. When you watch the reports, just remember who's leaking what. The agents leak certain things, and the team leaks a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And we know what reporters do what things. Just watch the story. You can see the storylines play out over the next week. They'll feed them to us.
Well, it's going to be interesting, though, because this is the first time we're seeing Joe Douglas operate the draft. So you wonder how many of those leaks are still going to be coming out.
Yeah, but that's what, if Adam Gase doesn't want Adams or whatever else, then they'll play the game, dude.
Yeah.
And they want to see how the fan. Or what they do is they prepare the fans for certain things, like, oh, this could happen or this could happen. We'll see. I don't know. I try to be positive, but like there's a lot of smoke with some of this shit, and you start thinking about it.
We definitely have to do one of these live on draft night.
Can you imagine?
With the callers in.
We do this every day. I don't give a shit. I mean, that'd be
hold up
awesome.
100 people on here.
Can you really?
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm in.
Yeah.
My second Zoom. This is fun. I can't have Under Armour right now. I need some beer. I'll be fine.
I did a work happy hour yesterday.
How was that?
Yeah, it was fun. Had a few beers.
Dude, I'm in.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, let me know, man.
That's it. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Like
a handshake. Like 6 feet away. Later, man.
Later.